Shannon O'Connell, Marketplace Account Manager.
Can you tell us about your background and how you found JumpFly? How did you end up working with Marketplace?
Sure. So I was pretty fortunate that I knew where I wanted to go in my career pretty early. And I was in a marketing role at a small office supply manufacturer. And I was looking to make a change. My commute was getting pretty rough. And my boyfriend at the time and I were changing our living situation. We were moving, looking at, leaving the area that we were in. And so JumpFly honestly was location-wise where I wanted to be. And it was a good fit in terms of my career goals and where I wanted to move to. So it just kind of lined up that geographically it was a good fit. And then once I got here and started working with the team, it really turned into a big culture fit as well. Very open to new ideas and open to trying new things. When I joined JumpFly, Marketplace wasn't, the department that it is today. It had really just started. So I got to work pretty closely in getting things off the ground and helping, make connections and kind of lend my expertise to building the department.
So can you describe your growth and role evolution while working at JumpFly?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I came in, I started as an account specialist with the Google team. So I had no experience with Google ads prior. In my previous role, I was strictly Amazon. So I knew the Amazon environment. I knew the Amazon ecosystem really, really well, but I didn't really know Google. So spent the first 6 to 8 months basically learning Google Ads. It's the flagship part of the JumpFly business. Most of us obviously know Google Ads pretty well now, but I then transitioned into more full-time Amazon management once more of our existing clients expanded into the Amazon marketplace, and we were able to attain more Amazon business from outside clients. So it definitely evolved, and I worked underneath our marketplace director at the time as an account specialist there as well until about 3 years ago, I became a full account manager with my own team, my own client accounts, and we've been rolling ever since.
So your role in Marketplace, how has that changed as Marketplace itself has evolved and changed?
Yeah, so our department has really grown exponentially. Originally, we had started, kind of as the Amazon department. Amazon was the big e-commerce platform at the time, other than maybe eBay, but that was really where our department kind of focused initially. And that's where my expertise were. So as we've had more talent come on board, as we've had more need from clients, we've expanded the marketplaces that we're able to serve. So it's been Amazon, Walmart, Wayfair, eBay, just to name a few. But I've managed all of these before in my previous role, before I was at JumpFly. So it was a little exciting to be able to go back to marketplaces and platforms that I used to manage, but had maybe been out of the loop on for a little bit, to then dive back in and learn all of that again. So it's been very interesting to see the evolution of these marketplaces and really kind of understand how they're functioning now compared to what I knew, 5-6 years ago.
What would you say is the biggest change in Marketplace since you joined? Something that was really noticeable and how it shifted your approach?
Yeah, so I've been in the Amazon space since 2016, and all the other marketplaces as well since about that time also. And it's very interesting to watch how most of them are basically copying what Amazon is able to do, right? So their ad platforms very closely mimic Amazon's, but they're catching up much faster. So Amazon kind of set the bar and set the standard, but then now Walmart, eBay, all these other platforms have really accelerated their ability to adapt and incorporate a lot of the same features that a lot of Amazon advertisers are now familiar with. So there's a lot of mimicking going on in the industry. So if you're on one platform, typically you can figure out how to do the others. It is very similar, but different strategies work differently on each platform because the consumer is different. So that's been a very interesting trend that we've seen kind of come out of this, is what we do on Amazon doesn't always translate to Walmart or to eBay or to Wayfair, because it is a different consumer, it's a different market. Something that's had a huge impact recently too is obviously with the introduction of AI into all of these platforms. Amazon in particular has really integrated it into a lot of their creative tools. So for your storefront, for your ads, for any kind of product page, there's now AI abilities to basically have that AI generate your content for you. We've definitely played with it, and I like being able to use it and being able to kind of optimize to that, because it does inherently use Amazon best practices. It's just not 100% there yet.
So what's one skill that you yourself have developed while working in marketplace, whether with JumpFly in your previous role, wherever?
Patience. So one of the things that we do quite frequently when we're working with a marketplace that's so big, right? Like Walmart or Amazon, for instance, something's going to go wrong, period. It's inevitable. There's always going to be, an ad that is suppressed, or a product that's ineligible, or something going on that we need to address. And none of those things get addressed quickly, unfortunately. We have to do a lot of support cases or a lot of documentation and proving what the issue is, or we're dealing with an automated bot that's reviewing the cases. So I would honestly say patience has really been a huge skill that I wasn't anticipating needing to have in spades in this kind of a position, but that is definitely one of them.
So going into JumpFly's culture,
Mm-hmm.
It's a big part of the company and what it stands for. What stands out to you about JumpFly's culture?
How integrated everybody is in the success of their clients, right? I've been in other roles where, a job is a job and people kind of show up, do their work and call it a day. The difference here with JumpFly is a lot of our account managers, they take their jobs personally. And I think that can be a strength here, because the success of my clients equals my success, right? I genuinely care how my clients are doing, how their business is doing. I want to get to know them as people, build a rapport, because that's honestly how I think the best strategy goes. And I think that most account managers culturally here at JumpFly have that same perspective. I see it all the time with our account managers that have long-term client relationships. People send, Christmas cards, or if there's, a new baby or anything like that, we definitely get to hear about the personal side of things. So I think, and that I think has to do with a lot with our culture of, it's the people first.
So why do you think brands choose JumpFly for marketplace services, and what keeps you excited about the role you have in that?
I think clients choose JumpFly because we have account managers that have a huge depth of knowledge. A lot of agencies have that culture of either rotating clients across account managers, or account managers don't have a lot of tenure. I myself have been at JumpFly for 6 years now. There's account managers here that have been here 20 plus. So we have a huge depth of knowledge in this arena. And I've had clients that I've been working with for 5-6 years, my entire time that I've been here. So we get to know our clients very well. We take a personal interest in them, in their business, in the success of their business, and really understand what it is that they're looking to do. If it's on Marketplace or any of the other platforms that we manage, I really try to understand what matters to that client and what their KPIs are, or what goals are they really trying to suss out? And if they don't have a well-defined goal, that's usually where, again, my expertise comes in and says, hey, well, in this area, maybe this is what we want to be shooting for. Let's test and experiment with that. So I think our expertise, our guidance is a big part of that.
So can you kind of sum up how you optimize ad performance on Amazon and Walmart and successfully scale client accounts?
Yeah, so I think it's a little different depending on the marketplace. We very much understand that the shopper who is browsing Amazon is not the same shopper who is browsing Walmart and is not the same shopper who's browsing Wayfair. We customize that strategy based on the marketplace that we're optimizing, and we really take that into account. Additionally, when we look at scaling, I'm looking at the competitive market. I'm looking at what our client has to offer in comparison and really trying to find, what is that niche where they can find the best consumer and there's room for us to grow. So I will typically try to, again, understand what their goals are and how best to meet that through different strategies. And we are always testing something new. Our teams are pretty well versed in staying up to date on new tools, new strategies, and I'm always looking for something new to test and see what else we could possibly do to scale.
How do you use data to guide marketplace strategies, and what metrics are most valuable to driving sales?
Okay. When it comes to driving sales, that's a very specific goal that we're trying to meet for that client. In driving sales, we're looking at click-through rates, we're looking at the ad conversion rate, we're looking at the number of people that are visiting that product detail page, where is it ranking in terms of its overall category. So those all kind of give us information into how popular that product is on Amazon specifically, and then what our ability is to basically influence and improve those numbers. By improving those numbers, you're able to generate more sales, more conversions. That gets rewarded with higher search ranking, and we move on from there. When we're looking at data, I'm looking at a much broader set, right? I'm looking at what are our impression rates? What are our click rates? How often are people either coming into the page or not coming back? What is the consumer retention rate? So do we have a lot of one and done type conversions, or do people come back and repurchase? If they're repurchasing, how often or how many days between those repurchases? So that's really kind of, we're always looking at the data to kind of determine what strategies are working best and where can we have a bigger impact.
So obviously communication is very important in this role with both your team and your clients. How do you keep that line clear and effective?
Sure. So I utilize an internal tool called Basecamp pretty heavily. Each client that I manage basically has their own little section in that tool, and we schedule everything. Everything is documented, written down. My team has full visibility to it. We assign tasks. We meet every morning to go over where things are at, what projects are open, where maybe they need some help or I need to step in, or if there's something that I'm doing that I need more support or help with. So internally, we communicate all day long, basically kind of getting an idea of where the team is at and what's happening. For clients, I'm really making sure I try to reach out at least once a month. Each client has a little bit of a different preference in terms of communication. There's clients that I talk to weekly. There's clients that I talk to bi-weekly, monthly. My minimum usually is monthly. So from there, obviously, email communication is huge as well. So usually I'm pretty good about making sure everything gets addressed in a timely manner.
So how does creative strategy help drive client success on platforms like Amazon?
Creative strategy is huge. Honestly, after social media, I would say e-commerce marketplaces is number 2 in terms of definitely needing to have a well-defined creative strategy, especially with the emphasis Amazon has been putting on it recently. The launch of AI obviously has taken a little bit of the burden off of brands who maybe don't have a design department or, video editing capabilities, anything like that. But with Amazon, video has had a huge role in a lot of my clients' success. Amazon has really prioritized video in a lot of our ad creatives. They've also prioritized it on product pages, brand storefronts. There's a lot more visibility to video than there ever was before. And we're definitely seeing shoppers respond much more favorably to video now than we are the static product images. So it's definitely been a huge thing for brands to incorporate video more into their creative strategy, but then also using lifestyle images. Lifestyle images definitely attract more of an eye. They give an idea of perspective. Excuse me. They give an idea of perspective, and they basically help sell the product and make the customer envision that product in their day-to-day life.
So let's say you're talking to someone who's in PPC or SEO. What's something about Marketplace that might surprise them if you talk about it with them?
Sure. So specifically for Amazon, I think the biggest thing that other departments maybe aren't aware of, and even the consumer often isn't aware of on Amazon, is something called the buy box. The buy box is basically that add to cart button on Amazon that gets refreshed every 15 minutes. So you, the seller, can be competing for that 15-minute slot with 50 other sellers selling that exact same product. And you're competing on pricing, shipping speed, the location of your inventory within Amazon's pipeline. If you're using Fulfilled by Amazon, if you have a vendor relationship. So there's all kinds of metrics that go into your ability to win that buy box. And that's why if you're a consumer, you go to a product, in the morning and you see it at $9.99 and you go back, 6 hours later and maybe now it's $8.99, $7.99. It's because it keeps turning over. And once it turns over and it's no longer, say, my client, my ads shut down. So I have so many more variables that impact my ability to advertise than just, say, the website or the landing page or anything like that. I'm also having to consult on, hey, your seller feedback isn't great, or hey, your shipping speed is a little bit too long. We have to fix that before I can ever even launch a campaign that would then be effective.
If you could use one marketplace platform for your shopping, your personal shopping, would you choose Amazon, Walmart, or Etsy, and why?
I would choose Etsy. One, I really like the customization that's able to go on there. I really like the ability to, find something new and exciting that is handmade. I also like the local filter to be able to support other, small businesses that are in my direct area close to my zip code. So that would honestly where I would be preferring to kind of shop more.
What are your favorite topics to discuss with your fellow JumpFly coworkers, whether it's professional or non-professional?
Professionally, I would say it would be what we're seeing across the industry, because I think that is what helps us make a picture of what's going on holistically. So if I'm seeing something in Marketplace and my Google team is seeing something else, and we can kind of compare notes and say, okay, this is what's going on in the overall environment, it kind of helps paint a picture for the client and give a story of, this is what's happening in the Amazon. This is what's happening in the e-commerce environment overall. Personally, it's my dog or my kid, pretty much. You mentioned either one of those topics and I'm immediately derailed. I will talk about my dog or my daughter all day long. They're kind of the center of my life.
What's one piece of advice you could give to somebody new to marketplace management?
Be curious. So there is always something to be learned. There is never, you can't know it all. It is literally impossible. There is so many things that are coming out and that are changing and that are constantly adapting. So feed your curiosity. If a topic is very interesting to you, dive into it, become an expert in that area. It's very, very good to have, a niche of where your knowledge is rooted.
Where do you see Marketplace heading in the next few years, and how do you keep our clients prepared for those changes?
In the next few years, I see Marketplace expanding the platforms that we're able to service. I think there's a lot of emerging platforms that are coming out. I also think a lot of the big platforms that we currently service, so Amazon, Wayfair, Walmart, for example, are having spin-off platforms like Amazon Haul and things like that. So I think there's definitely going to be new entrants to the e-commerce market. To keep clients prepared for those changes, we write about them extensively. I actually am the content coordinator for the Marketplace blog committee. So I'm basically keeping a lot of the information on our blog up to date and coordinating a lot of that. So I'm constantly researching topics and making sure that whatever is coming out in the industry gets covered by our team, and that content is up to date. Additionally, we go to trade shows. We talk to our account reps at the actual marketplaces. So we are in regular communication with them and getting updates from them on what's coming or betas that are coming out that, our clients could be eligible for. And then just, monitoring everything going on in the ecosystem. So I read through our competitors' blogs, or I'll look at the industry newsletters and those things to kind of get an understanding of, what are other agencies paying attention to, what are industry leaders paying attention to, and what's a hot topic at that time.
What's a skill that's really important to possess as Marketplace continues to evolve?
Adaptability, for sure. So with the introduction of AI, especially too, I think being able to be adaptable and use those tools and think creatively about how we use those tools is ultimately what is going to serve a pretty big purpose in this career moving forward. So I think anyone who can be adaptable and look at an environment and change it or customize their strategy to fit that is going to do well.
How do you stay current in industry changes? Is there a resource that you go to, multiple resources? Is it people you collaborate with? What are the best ways to stay current with these industry changes?
Sure. I read the Amazon blog pretty heavily. So Amazon has their own blog where they release a lot of the changes or updates that are coming out. Same thing with Wayfair, Walmart, eBay. I pretty much have like a Google alert that comes into my inbox every morning that's filtered to a lot of those marketplaces. So a lot of the news outlets, whatever they're reporting on in terms of those marketplaces, I read through all of that every morning. But I also look at our competitors, how our competitors are talking about the market, what other agencies are paying attention to, and then what information our account reps are sending us. So we do have dedicated account reps for these platforms that we regularly communicate with. And they usually share insights or upcoming betas or new releases that are out.
Are there any current trends or recent trends in Marketplace that have shaped how you approach brand management on platforms like Amazon or Walmart? And how do you help clients adjust to these changes?
Absolutely. So brand management has become such a key factor to success on a lot of these platforms. It used to be that you could list a product, get an image up there, write a description, and you were good to go. Now consumers are much more discerning in understanding, the brand and the purpose behind a lot of the content on the page. So the more storytelling we're able to do with brands, typically the better results that we get from our ads, both from the ads themselves and then also the organic placement that increases with those conversions. So I will usually consult with brands and say, hey, I think your storefront looks really great, but maybe we can make some tweaks here, or your product detail pages look really well built, but I would like to see more video, or I would like to see, more product details filled in. So we don't stop basically at the ad structure. We go deeper and say, hey, I think your ads will have a better result and your organic will have a better result if we make these changes to your content or to your brand.
What excites you the most about the future of marketplace management, especially within ad optimization?
So I'm really excited for a lot of the AI automation that's coming out. I think it's going to be able to streamline a lot of the more routine optimizations that we're doing. and give us a lot more time back to focus on big picture and strategy. I think that's been something that we've been asking for quite some time with a lot of these e-com platforms. And we're finally getting to the point where, the AI is getting up to speed and is more or less able to do that more tedious work and refine those optimizations. We obviously still have full control over that and audit everything before it ever goes live, but it does allow a lot more time for us to do more meaningful work and big picture strategies.
Is there a notable success story of yours that you'd like to share with us in your time working with Marketplace at JumpFly?
Yeah, so I love working with brand new brands. So clients that are new to Amazon, have never sold on it before. I've had several over the years, and it's just very rewarding to me for a new brand to kind of get up and going and then suddenly start to see routine sales come in. And, maybe we're making a sale every week and then it turns into every 4 days and then it's every day. And it's really rewarding when I get to see that happen and I celebrate with that client because, they did the hard work, right? They went through the whole process of the account setup. They went through getting all of their listings up there. Obviously, I'm able to help along the way at any point, but it's really exciting when I have a new account that starts rolling that way. And I'm currently working with one now that they just started on Amazon at the end of October. And here we are coming up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and they're just now starting to get rolling. And I'm really excited to see how this goes for them.
What do you think are the key factors of a successful marketplace campaign? And how does your team make sure these are a focus for every client?
So key factors for a campaign is, really having a refined keyword strategy, and not only just the keywords in terms of searches, but also negative keywords as well. And then having a really refined product targeting strategy. We go through and we audit every campaign, every keyword, every product target to make sure that one, it's applicable, and then two, it's had conversion history, right? I don't want to necessarily spend more money behind something if it's never converted, even if it is, highly relevant, unless there's obviously a bigger strategy picture in play here. But we basically make sure that each client has that customized strategy and that it fits very well into who their target consumer is.
All right, Shannon, thank you.
Thank you.